All right, everyone. We're going to go out to the showroom floor. We're going to interview Camden Toy from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We're going to go over to Alfonso right now. Alfonso, are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right, here we go.
We are here at Comic-Con, Chicago, here with UFragTV.com in conjunction with pwndcast.com, and I'm here speaking to Cameron Toy.
It's Camden Toy.
Camden Toy, excuse me.
Oh, actually, the reason he got that was because I jokingly said before we were about to broadcast that even people that know me, will accidentally say, "Hi, this is Cameron Troy." So I actually planted
put it
that
in my
seed.
mind.
Yes,
For the last 5 minutes, I've been saying it correctly in my mind, and then I screwed it up because he put that seed in my mind.
I did.
Yes.
So I just wanted to, reassure everybody that it was my fault.
I'm not as stupid as I look.
You couldn't be.
Yes,
Sorry,
I couldn't be.
It's a joke.
So anyway, actor here comes up to us, and we're going to interview him, and I see him, and I'm like, I recognize this guy. And an instant lightning bolt hit my head, and I knew exactly what I recognized him from. And tell me if I'm wrong here, because I'm going completely from memory. Episode of Buffy by the name of Hush.
Right.
Favorite episode ever, and you were one of the gentlemen, one of the silent creatures. Give us the face. Give us the face and the mannerisms of the creatures. Now explain a little bit about that episode to people that don't remember it.
Well, the gentlemen they're these creatures that the only thing that hurt them is the human voice. So what we do is we steal the entire town's voice and store it in this little box before we literally float into town and then steal people's hearts. We cut people's hearts out. We have to get 7 hearts. But yeah, it's these mythical kind of storybook monsters. Yeah.
Yes, and I mean, it was my favorite episode of Buffy, and there was a very creepy little girl lullaby that went along with the whole episode. And let's see if I can remember it right. And this is from memory, from an episode I've seen maybe 10 years ago. Was it, can't cry, can't say a word, gonna die screaming, but you won't be heard. Now, did I get that right?
That's pretty close, yeah.
That's pretty close. Yeah. And, do we have something wrong with our mic?
No, just keep it.
All right. So anyway, now that we got that out of the way, that's the thing that I rememred you from.
That was the first episode of Buffy I did.
First episode of Buffy you did. But what are your other film and television credits that people might recognize you from?
Well, they actually brought me back on Buffy's 7th season for a character called Gnarl. It's an episode called Same Time, Same Place. It was the 3rd episode of Buffy's 7th season. He was literally the Hannibal Lecter of the demon world. That was a lot of fun.
So were demons scared of this character?
No, I don't. He wasn't going after demons. He was definitely a skin-eating demon that only went after humans.
I see. Okay.
It was the 3rd character I played on Buffy called the Uber Vamp, who was the vampire that vampires feared. So yes, he was definitely something or some kind of creature that was feared by other demons and vampires, yes.
Okay, now those are some television credits. Do you have any film credits to your name?
And actually, real quick.
Oh, okay.
Before we,
yes.
And I also did an episode of Angel. I was brought in Angel's 5th season as the Prince of Lies in an episode called Why We Fight, which is a flashback episode of World War II and takes place on a German submarine. It's an old, decrepit, geriatric vampire.
So would you say that Buffy's the show that you've had the most FaceTime on?
Yeah, probably. It's probably what I'm most well known for. Although FaceTime is kind of a funny misnomer because I'm under like 5-6 hours of makeup on every single character I've played on. Buffy and Angel.
And they all look great.
Well, thank you. That's certainly to the credit of my makeup artists. Rob Hall and Doug No. They were just amazing makeup artists. They brought those characters to such full life.
Well, you've just named 3 different characters that you were on Buffy. Oh, excuse me, 4 different characters.
Yeah, 3 on Buffy, 1 on Angel.
Oh, 1 on Angel, right. Yeah. Which would you say was your favorite to play?
Well, I always say that it's a little like asking a parent what their favorite child is, but...
they know.
Yeah.
They know.
Okay, well, as an actor, let's say from an actor's standpoint, Nara was probably the most fun and unusual character to play because it was so incredibly richly written. It had so much verbal playfulness that it had. Then he also had an immense amount of physicality. He also had amazing makeup. It was an amazing character to play, and I think it was the one I probably had the most fun with. And some people might say a little too much fun with.
A little too much fun?
Yeah, he was pretty creepy.
Well, just say that maybe you took the character a little too far, and they had to do a couple of retakes.
I wouldn't say too far, but I definitely had the cast and crew of Buffy the Vampire Slayer going, after a few of the takes, yeah.
So Buffy was a little scared of going up against a person like you.
Well, no, Sarah wasn't, but Buffy was, but Sarah wasn't, no.
All right. So now that we've thoroughly talked about Buffy and Angel, how about film credits? Do you have any film credits to your name?
Well, yeah, I worked on a film called Dia de los Muertos, All Souls Day. Jeremy Kasdan directed that. I played 5 different zombies on that film.
Not at once.
Not at once, no. But yeah, different days I come in, they'd make me up as different zombies. It was a lot of fun.
And about how gory would you say that movie was?
Actually, it was not as gory as you'd think. You know, it is a zombie picture, but it's not a typical zombie picture. It really kind of evolves around an incident that happened on All Souls Day in this little village in Mexico back in the 1800s, and then it jumps forward into the 1950s, and then it jumps forward to present day, and it kind of follows what happened in the history of what happened in that town. So it's a little more. It's a little more about the Day of the Dead than it is about, like
Blood and
Guts,
Guts,
or about like George Romero's zombies.
Right, right.
Yeah. I also did a film called Trickery Mimicry, which was written and directed by a young writer-director based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, Garrett Tiedemann, and the only way I can describe him, he's like a young David Lynch.
Oh, boy.
Yes, it's really an amazing tale shot in very gothic black and white. Ezra Buzzington and I were the 2 leads in it, and we shot it in this little farm in a rural area outside of Minneapolis about 2 years ago. And it's just a very unusual film, really fun, but very unusual.
Well, you've described a lot of horror movies and unusual films that you've been in. Would you say that you prefer that kind of movie, or you've just simply gravitated to it?
No, it's not so much that I prefer them. It's just it seems to have happened a lot. Or as my friend Ed Marks, who cut Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2, he's an editor on that. He used to say to me, "Welcome to the horror ghetto." That's what he used to say to me as a joke. But I think once you start working on certain types of film, I think a lot of times people see you in that way.
Typecast?
Yeah, a little bit. But they're fun roles, so I have no complaints about that. But I did do a web series called The Insider's Guide to Film School, which is up on the website. It's on www.insidersguidetofilmschool.com, and there's 2 full seasons up, streaming on the internet right now, and that's following these young student filmmakers through their first 2 semesters of film school, and I literally play their film professor from hell. I just make their lives hell.
Well, we're actually getting quite a few questions from the chat room right now. Would you mind answering one?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, a fan right now just asked, somebody that recognizes you from your work. They see you as zombies and monsters and demons, and they want to know, do you ever get so deep into those roles that you forget that you're not immortal?
No.
So you can lay a pretty thick line right there.
No, it's pretend. It's a let's pretend thing. I get pretty deep into it, and I have a lot of fun with it. But I would say the deepness is not so much the evilness or lost in the evilness of the character as much as just the fun and joy it is to play a character and do things you couldn't do in real life without major consequences.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like skinning people alive and drinking their blood, and yeah, you couldn't do that in real life without some major consequences.
But it would be fun.
But it'd be fun. It's fun in pretend, yeah.
Okay, pretend. We'll pretend too.
Yeah.
So another fan question is: have you ever done any projects other than monster movies?
Well, yeah, we were just talking. I guess maybe that came in before we.
You said not to.
Before we talked about the Insider's Guide to Film School. I also just shot. Actually, I just shot an episode. Actually, not an episode. It was a short film with Jason Connery about 2 weeks ago, which was a lot of fun, called The Last Word. Or no, called The Next Word. I'm sorry, called The Next Word, which was just this short little ditty that was.
Are you sure it wasn't next to The Last Word?
No, it could have been, but it's called The Next Word, and it was just a lot of fun, and he was a lot of fun to work with, and that'll be probably up on the web sometime in the next couple months, and it'll probably hit the film festivals as well, and that's done with no prosthetic makeup, and it's a comedy. It's just like it's a bit of an English farce. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
All right. Now another question is, do you play video games at all?
I'm trying to think if there's any video games I've really played in the past. Not really, because I have such an addictive personality that I knew I would never leave the house if I did. In fact, it's very funny. I love television, but when I lived in Brooklyn, New York for about 12 years. I literally had got rid of my television because I knew if I did not